Clover Fresh Milk is the #1 milk brand in SA, made with love by Clover.
Well, listen, Eid is around the corner and it's now time to start thinking of all of those delicious sweet treats you will be adding to your table. And why not mix things up this year and include this delicious sticky toffee pudding on your menu? Now, this Mama Bake recipe will definitely be a keeper. And here to show us exactly how to put it together, we have pastry chef Angie Garba with us in studio. She's baked by Angie on social media. So, Chef Angie, I'm very excited to make a sticky toffee. Look at that.
Yeah, one of my favorites for winter.
It looks messy and it looks gooey and it looks delicious.
It is. It's really good.
So where do we start, of course?
Okay, it's a very straightforward recipe, as you know, a pudding should be.
Okay.
So you've got your fat, margarine, and then we're going to cream this with some nice soft brown sugar. So it's the muscovado sugar, the one that's got the treacle in it.
Okay. And the Mama Bake, they contain 80% fat, and that's what you want for this recipe.
Yes, you need a full fat marge. If you sort of use the spread, there's too much water in it, and it's not going to work as well as a bake.
Okay.
So you need to use the full fat, definitely.
Okay, and Mama Bake is also rich with vitamin A and vitamin D, so we're adding that.
Right. So we're creaming together the fat and the sugar. And if we had a lot more time, I would cream this till it was very light and fluffy, but we're a little bit short on time.
Okay. Is this something you cream by hand, or can you also pop it in the machine for
I would definitely use the machine.
Okay.
And the hand mixer is great for this because it's a small recipe, so to try and put it in a big machine is going to be tricky.
Okay.
But just use the hand mixer. I'm going to use a whisk now because it's a little easier. I find a whisk is my best tool.
Okay.
So we've got this, and this would technically go to very light and fluffy, but it's just a time issue. So, and then we add our eggs. So a little bit like making a cake.
There we go.
And the basis of it really is a sponge cake. And what we've done before we started with this was to actually get some dates softened. So we've got 200 grams of dates here, and it's mixed with water. What I actually do, you can just put boiling water over, leave it to stand until it's softened. But I actually just boil it up because it just makes it go faster.
Okay, is that how you softened your dates?
Yes.
Do you remove the pip beforehand,
definitely.
or you buy without the pip?
Buy without the pip. That's the trick. Don't do what I've done before, where I've actually left the pips in.
Okay.
And then you really battle to get them out.
It's a messy situation to get yourself
You've got to sift through all those dates, try to get the pips out. Right, so we're just going to mix that, add the next egg.
There we go.
So fat, sugar, and then eggs. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients.
Okay, so you started off with the wet. Of course, our keyword this morning is Clover. If you'd love to have this recipe, this sticky toffee pudding that we're busy making, sent directly to your phone. That includes the ingredients, the steps to the recipe. It's Clover to 33728. So just SMS that keyword Clover for this recipe.
Right, okay, so we've got our eggs in, and then we've got our self-raising flour. And a pinch of salt. I always add a pinch of salt to everything. It just brings out all the other flavors. So we mix that in. And then we've got our dates. Now, what I would normally do is add the bicarb. So you would boil your dates. Then when they're nice and soft, but they're still warm, you add the bicarb and it fizzes up. And it actually helps to soften the dates even more.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little trick. But we'll add this
Bicarb's amazing. I use it to clean everything.
So do I. Bicarb and vinegar.
Bicarb and vinegar cleans everything.
It's brilliant.
There we go.
Okay, so we've got our softened dates, and this is sort of the key to the sticky toffee pudding. It's what makes it lovely and sticky and toffee-ish
as well. Yes.
Yeah. And then we've got our mix here, a little bit of vanilla essence.
And this is quite an arm workout.
It is an arm work. Whenever you do something by hand, it's an arm workout, isn't it? First thing in the morning is really what you need.
This is your gym for the week.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we've got our batter. And if it's a little thick, and sometimes it is, you can just add a little extra milk just to soften it back down again till it's soft drop consistency. That goes into your baking dish, so a greased baking dish, obviously like a Pyrex dish or whatever you're going to use. Into the oven, 180. You can add some nuts if you want. You know, if you are allergic, don't.
Yes. Stay
if
away
you
from the nuts.
If you enjoy the nuts, sometimes I actually add them afterwards.
Okay. So we'll bake that in the oven at 180
About
degrees.
180. Until it's got that springy to the touch texture when you're done. That's how you know when a baked good is done.
Okay.
When you can press it on top and it bounces back.
Amazing.
And then while it's baking, you would get on with your sauce. So we've again got our marge.
There we go.
And
our Mama Bake is in there.
Again, we've got some brown sugar. In this part with the sauce, you don't have to use the sticky brown sugar. You could just use white sugar or normal straight brown sugar. And that just gets mixed together with some cream.
There we go. We are using our Clover fresh cream.
So this is a lovely recipe for putting on some weight. If you need to fatten up for
listen,
winter.
it's a nice, delicious treat, and it's going to be
divine.
enjoyed guilt-free. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. The thing about a treat is you just have it once in a while, don't you?
Exactly. All in moderation. We've added some vanilla.
A little vanilla, and then you would let this boil up until your sugar's nice and dissolved and everything looks creamy. And then as that pudding comes out of the oven and it's still warm, you pour the warm sauce over it, and then it'll soak right in.
How amazing. Well, if you've missed any of the steps or any of the instructions Angie has just told us, we've got a quick recap for you.
If you're a pudding person, then the sticky sponge cake covered in toffee sauce and custard has to go into your recipe book. To make a Clover Mama Bake sticky toffee pudding, pour 200 milliliters of boiling water over 200 grams of pitted dates and set aside. In a bowl, add 75 grams of Clover Mama Bake, 75 grams of muscovado sugar, and beat until light and fluffy. Next, whisk in 2 large eggs, 150 grams of self-raising flour, a teaspoon of bicarb soda, and beat to combine and then set aside. Using a fork, mash the soaked dates and add it to the batter. Next, add 150 grams of chopped pecan nuts and fold them into the batter. Add the batter to a greased baking dish and bake at 180 degrees Celsius for 30 to 35 minutes. To make the sauce, add 1 cup of Clover fresh cream to a pot. Then add 150 grams of Clover Mama Bake, 300 grams of muscovado sugar, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Cook the sauce for 10 minutes until thickened. Then pierce holes into the pudding and pour over all of that decadent toffee sauce. Serve with loads of Clover classic custard. Sticky, sweet, and mouth-watering, this Clover Mama Bake sticky toffee pudding is a quintessential dessert for your winter menu.
Made with love by Clover.
Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed this Mama Bake sticky toffee pudding that Angie made for us. She's adding a little bit of nuts to the finished product because this came out the oven, you've poured the sauce over, and now it's just a decorative little bit of nuts.
Extra nuts for the bit of crunch. Yeah.
And then also you can serve it with some Clover custard.
Definitely, I would always serve it with custard. That makes
And
it
some ice
delicious.
cream?
Oh, yes.
Oh, well, listen, options to serve is endless, of course, if you want this recipe sent directly to your phone. Our keyword this morning is Clover to 33728. Chef Angie, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Okay, well, I'll take this to the boys. There we go.
Clover Fresh Milk is the #1 milk brand in SA. Made with love by Clover.